Latest pictures coming in of some deployment happening on the Indian side. The Rajasthan state government has apparently asked border villages to be ready for relocation. The Director General of Police and the Home Secretary were recently called to Delhi and briefed on this particular matter. This is on the Indian side. These are pictures from the Indian side. On the other side, for the second straight day, the Pakistani military flexed its muscles, trying to send out what appears to be a domestic message. According to reports in the Pakistani media, the Pakistan Air Force conducted sorties over the main cities of Rawalpindi, Lahore and Karachi. All these sorties beginning on a day when Kiani warned India of an equal response. Now, on our Newshour debate tonight, we are joined by two guests. From Islamabad, Mushahid Hussain, Chairman of Pakistan Senate's Foreign Relations Committee, and G. Parthasarathy, former High Commissioner to Pakistan. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us on the show. If I begin by asking you, Mr. Mushahid Hussain, since the last time you came and now, it seems a clear and deliberate attempt. Let's crank it up. Let's build the war cry. Let's fly the planes. Let's show that we have some army. We can respond. Let's internationalize the whole issue and do everything possible to make sure that where we started, which was a promise to the world and to India that you will act against terror camps, let that be forgotten. Let's forget all of that. Instead, begin the war cry. Isn't that highly irresponsible, Mr. Hussain, and take away from the basic issue?
I wouldn't really agree with you that the war cries have been initiated by Pakistan. They started from India. Our response has been very mature and muted and subdued, if I may say so. And there have been a couple of days of sorties around major cities, but that's about it. There have been absolutely no state of emergency in the Pakistan Armed Forces, no deployment of troops, and no talk of war. In fact, the Prime Minister even today said there's no possibility of war. But it seems that India is trying to push the panic buttons, especially engage the United States and the UN, and talk of war reinforced by a so-called coercive diplomacy. And there's a certain hysteria being created via the media and through these gestures. So I think there's a bellicosity and increase in rhetoric from the Indian side. And maybe there's some matching response in the coming days from Pakistan. But the purpose of the whole exercise would be futile, because the purpose is to nab the perpetrators of the crime in Mumbai, and that only we can do together rather than apportioning blame or trying to bully and browbeat the smaller neighbor.
Of course, and if that happens, Mr. Mushahid Hussain, you would know that it is only going to be at the peril of the people of Pakistan, who also suffer at the hands of the same terrorists. You can distract attention to India today, but you have to really focus on the problem tomorrow. G. Parthasarathy, where do you look? How do you look at what's going on?
Well, it's always good to be with Mushahid on a program. I've known him for over 25 years now.
Yes.
The issue really is the terrorists who carried out this attack on Mumbai, not the war cries or whatever. And the fact of the matter is, two Pakistani television channels have established that Kasab comes from Pakistan, from Faridkot. This has been endorsed by investigative journalism by the British press. Pakistan is in a state of denial and says no evidence. The Home Minister proclaims that he is not on their data bank. The data bank covers only 30% of the population, 60 million out of a population of 180 million. So obviously Pakistan is in a denial mode. This is nothing new. Mushahid would recall that when the Pakistan army moved into Kargil, he as information minister proudly proclaimed that the Indian aircraft which was shot down was done by Kashmiri Mujahideen. 4 months later, on August 14th, when awards were given, a soldier of the Northern Light Infantry was sort of given a bravery award for shooting down the Indian aircraft, though Mushahid described it as having been shot by the Kashmiri Mujahideen. Then, sometime later, after Nawaz Sharif was kicked out by Musharraf, Nawaz himself acknowledged that it was the Pakistan army. Now, coming to the bodies of these 9 fellows lying in Mumbai, let's not forget that during Kargil, the Pakistan army, shamelessly I would say, refused to accept 40 bodies of their own soldiers of the Northern Light Infantry killed in Kargil. So as I said, 2 years later, Nawaz admits the Pakistan army was involved.
Okay.
Take the attack on the Indian Parliament. The total denial that Jaish-e-Mohammed was involved. Then Mushahid's colleague, Lieutenant General Javed Ashraf Qazi, acknowledges in Pakistan's Senate on March 6, 2004, that the Jaish-e-Mohammed carried out the attack on the Indian Parliament. Yet Maulana Masood Azhar goes roaming around with armed guards and ISI security in Bawalpur.
So you made specific points.
I don't take Pakistani denial seriously.
You don't take them. You made specific points, but there's a larger point. Specific points, I'm sure Mushahid Hussain would like to respond to those. I mean, especially the one point, Mushahid Hussain, that you deny. You say they're Kashmiri Mujahideen bringing down Indian Air Force aircraft, and then later you decorate a Pakistani military soldier for carrying out that particular mission. But the larger point that these denials might serve your purpose today, but they end up infesting Pakistan itself with terrorists in the medium to long term.